Hi everyone, it's Gina from Gina K Designs and welcome back to another 5-minute card video. Today I'm going to show you the double stencil technique using feather dies and a stencil. To begin, I'm going to use a piece of cardstock that measures 3 3/4 inches by 5 inches, and I'm placing our fancy feathers dies onto this cardstock, blade side down. Now, my piece of cardstock that I'm doing the ink blending on is going to be a little bit smaller, so I'm grouping those dies fairly close together. And once I get them where I want them, I'm going to cut them out using the die cutting machine. Now, once that's done, I've also cut 3 more feathers using black Onyx cardstock, and I'm keeping the negative piece of the white cardstock that I cut out with the feathers. Now I'm going to layer that negative piece over a panel of cardstock that I cut out with Master Layouts 2. I used the stitch die in the Master Layouts 2 die set to cut that white panel. And I'm attaching it on the back using a little bit of washi tape. And now I'm going to use those 3 open feather spaces as a stencil. My first color is Wild Lilac, and I'm blending with a fairly light hand all the way down the right side of this piece of cardstock. I don't want to go too heavy because I'm going to go back and do another layer of this color with an additional stencil. My next color is Turquoise Sea, and I'm going to blend that right down the middle, and then as I'm blending, just lightly going into the Wild Lilac parts just to make sure I get a nice blend between those 2 colors. And when you blend Turquoise Sea with Wild Lilac, you get a beautiful periwinkle over that seam. And then once that's done, I'm going to use my final color, which is Lucky Clover. I'm going to flip this piece of cardstock around, and then coming in from the right-hand side, I'm going to blend that Lucky Clover into that Turquoise Sea. And where those 2 colors blend together, you get a beautiful teal green. Okay, and once that's done, now it's time to add the Fizzy stencil on top. Before I do that, I do want to tape this piece down, and I'm not worried because that's my stencil, so if it tears, I don't have to worry. And then I'm going to tape the stencil on top of that. And once that's in place, I'm going to start with some Wild Lilac ink. I'm going to re-ink that brush, and now I'm going to use a heavy hand, and I'm going to really put some pressure on there because I really want these dots to show up over that Wild Lilac that's already there. My next color is Turquoise Sea, and I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm going to go right down the center of the card and then pull over to the right and blend in some of that beautiful periwinkle color between those 2 colors. And then my final color is going to be the Lucky Clover. Since it's all taped down, I won't be flipping it around. But again, with a heavy hand coming in on the left and then working my way into that Turquoise Sea to create that teal green over the line between the colors. Now once that's done, it's time to take off the stencil and then gently peel away my handmade stencil that I made out of those feathers dies. And you can see that pretty image left underneath there. They're so pretty, just like that. But now we're going to take those black feathers that I cut out, and using the Gina K Designs Connect glue in one of the fine tip bottles, I'm applying glue all over the back of these feathers. I can get those tiny little dots using these bottles. And then once I have glue all over that, I'm going to place that on top of that image, lining everything up so that none of the color shows through around the edges. Doesn't that just make that color pop even more? I did the center one, and now I'm going to do the final one the same way. I used Connect glue, and I'm going to place it right over that image, not letting any of the color sneak out around the edges. They're very easy to line up. And then once you have your feathers in place, it's time to add a greeting. So I chose a greeting from the Sweet Camelia mini stamp set. And I decided to use my Misty for this because it's just a little too much to risk if I don't do it well. Plus, this is a brand new stamp. I haven't used this stamp in this stamp set yet, so I wanted to stamp it twice to get the image just a little bit darker. And then I adhered that panel onto a black panel and then onto an apple mint card base. And even though I didn't use apple mint in my card, because of all that beautiful ink blending, there's apple mint in there somewhere. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's 5-minute card video, and I hope you'll give this technique a try. Stay tuned to my channel for more 5-minute card videos and more Stampin' Chat videos too. Thanks so much for joining me, and I'll see you again real soon.